How you doing today? My name is Zayan. Today I'll be exploring on the metaphor psychology side of the story of Happy's Humble Burger Farm. Also we'll be exploring Happy's Humble Burger Barn and metaphor psychology inside the game at the end of this video. At the start we see two doctors implying mind control chips into the subject's head. They talk about putting these chips inside the employees too. It's mentioned that they treat workers worse than they test subjects. I'll get into this later. We wake up in this simulation. The boss calls us to tell us that we are hired to work at Happy's Humble Burger Farm. We see Toll, who is our co-worker. It doesn't seem that good. When we go outside, we see that this place has fake stuff and doesn't seem natural, showing that we are in a simulation. We go inside the restaurant, we see these mascots. All these mascots are future bosses that we're going to have to fight. When we interact with them, they say interesting stuff that have a metaphor altogether. So at this point of the game, it's not clear what's going on in this simulation. I'll leave it till the end of the game. We can find tapes throughout the game that explains what's going on. The first set of tapes we find talks about Acid Joy, aka Happy. It mentions that she's the most dangerous as they try to contain these experiments underground. All the experiments they have done have gone bad and started attacking everyone. Most likely put all the experiments in the same simulation the subjects are in to contain them. After two shifts, we see that the construction area has opened up due to an explosion. We go inside, we see something hiding under a blanket. We soon find a tape that explains that these experiments are alive and Grimm is staying into the darkness for too long and forgot why we started all this. Grimm is probably the leader of this operation. They started this for a reason, but he has been staying into darkness for too long. The metaphor here is you shouldn't forget why you started things. You may have good intentions for stuff, but as time goes on, you start staying into the darkness. You may start doing bad things. You always have to remember why you started this and always do good things. Don't ever go towards evil because it may seem like it's fine, but it's going to be bad for you in the end. Make sure these things will have a good outcome. When we turn on all the power boxes, the Peter the Pig comes out and we have to fight him. After defeating him, we go to where he was blocked off and we find a tape. This tape shows that as the Pika broke loose and went into the Burger Barn simulator, there he devoured everyone and the guy on the table was the only survivor. He mentions that Paragon must pay. He also mentioned another that all the experiences, including the AI, are all connected like a hive mind. We assume the robot who used to be friends with E7. He guides us on how to escape his simulation. But recipe that teaches us how to get a keyboard hacker. And we're using on this door, we find a tape with E14. Mentioning that she found out that they aren't creative workers, they are replicating trauma. This shows us that they were putting test subjects inside the simulation to make them subservient workers. This means that they are training them to follow orders without them asking questions. It's similar to what inside have. This shows us that we shouldn't try to let people be subservient workers. Your workers are regular human beings just like you. They have a life and they need that freedom. Workers can still be hardworking. People will most likely work harder for you if you are respectful and a good person. Toll is a great example of what I just explained. When we go inside his room, you see he doesn't want to be trapped here because of the loneliness he feels. He also lost his memories. This allowed him to become the person we see Toll is now. He had been trapped here inside the simulation for so long that he became the person that we see him now. This shows us that we shouldn't be stuck in this place where we don't feel good. Part of life is trying to change ourselves and we're going to have to improve ourselves. To have a good life, we have to make sure we don't lose ourselves. We also have to be aware of what's going on in our lives, find a way to fix it. Once you go out to work and grab a keypad hacker, you can access the boss's office. The boss starts telling us not to be here and gets cut off by the robot. I'm going to refer to the robot as Vic from now on because that's his given name by E7. Anyways, we see how they were building these customers. We go down into a van and we see the robots being built and coming outside to give orders to us. Next to this, we see the tape that explains that the hotel we stay at is where test subjects are being kept and it's easier for them to control them from there. Most likely because they are comfortable there and it seems like a normal life. This shows us that we should always be aware of what we are doing. People can easily manipulate us, we have to always look back at if everything is noble and good. We go to work the next day and use a makeshift explosion. We go to Happy's Humble Burger Barn to be buried underneath this place. We get in the water and ascend through a pipe. We see a tape with E7. He explains that he got moved to a place where called Happy Burger, which is a diner. He explains that the hypnosis but he could start remembering who he was. I'll explain the metaphor here with Toll. After completing missions, the Elysian City Museum opens up and holds a secret. The secret can be accessed by using the makeshift explosive. And we find a tape next to a crack. This tape explains that something fused with the animatronic designs. This shows that they were trying to create animatronics and something possessed them. I'll get into this at the end of the game. We go down the crack and after turning on the power, we meet Charlie Chicken. While going through the vents, we find another thing with the E7 on the top of the helmet. The helmet is going to help him fire treatment on his head. When you defeat Charlie and go into the fire escape, you see notes around the place. One of the notes shows that a scientist managed to capture a kid. The kid's father got caught as well and lives in the Blue Legion City. When we read on, he explained that Grimm starts gaining his wish, the world government to blackmail and contract. Blackmailing is letting someone keep a secret unless someone spread false information, or you do something to benefit them. For example, give money to them. The metaphor here that you shouldn't try to blackmail people. You don't need to owe a favor to someone to let them keep a secret. You gotta tell secrets to people who you can trust. This metaphor works the other way around, where if someone offers you to keep a secret and gives you money or other stuff, you shouldn't take it. It might seem tempting and you might as well take it, but to be a trustworthy person, you have to do something without expecting anything in return. Being a trustworthy person will make people more comfortable around you. You also need to keep secret and you shouldn't expose or make fun of somebody what they did. You're going to have that urge to tell someone, but you have to hold back yourself and learn to watch what you say. As I said before, this makes you a trustworthy person. There's also another metaphor in the note with the scientist freeing the boy. As he explains that a bomb went off and he decided to set his son free. He decides to stay back and hold off whatever is coming. He knows the evil he has done and to redeem himself, he stays back. Metaphor here is when you realize what you have done, you will want to do good again, to redeem yourself. This is a good thing because not a lot of people realize what they are doing wrong. It's your job now to undo the problems you have caused. They go into the water and excuse Sammy, the soundman. We escape the building and the simulation starts falling apart. The enemies start to be on the street now, and everything is disappearing for the simulation. When you go on top of this van, we see a tape with Maverick Copper. He talks about Sammy the soundman and a farmer who we encounter later. He talks about the dangers of them, but Grimm wants to keep these things alive. Maybe it's unclear what Grimm's intentions are, but he maybe wanted to have more power and not over bringing things to life. The metaphor here is we always want more power. It's human nature to want more, but we have to resist that urge. We always have to make sure that what we want more of is a good thing. Grimm most likely wanted to control these nightmarish mascots to take control of the world. We shouldn't use our knowledge to get control or do bad things, because doing the right things will make you a better and more likable person. You want to make people below you, but if you want to be powerful and feel good, you have to help people. You won't truly feel good about yourself until you do good things. When we go inside this building, we find 4 tapes with Maverick Copper. These tapes tell us where Maverick Copper came from. In the first tape, he explains that he created a private server where he uploads short audio logs. He signed a contract with Obscura, saying that he had to stay on the island for a year and cannot leave. When we go upstairs, we see 2 rooms. One has a drone set that probably doesn't mean anything, but the next one has a green screen. This is probably where they were filming videos with Maverick Copper. In the next tape, he explains that he got moved to Obscura and works in the underground city. He starts exposing this company for their secrets on this private server. In the third tape, he explains that Obscura extended his contract for several years, and when he starts ending the audio, you could hear him repeating himself and tired, showing that being trapped in this underground city had troubled him. It shows us that we should be careful what we get into because it could affect us in the future. We have to always be aware of what we're doing is good for us, and not let people take advantage of us. In the final tape, he explains that he had been making commercials for them. They most likely lure people in and use them as test subjects. He explained that fabricating reality is a ticket to paradise, meaning that they wanted to construct reality. This explains why they have a simulation. As I said before, they also wanted to make subservient work, which is a similar metaphor to this. It ultimately shows us that we shouldn't try to create a fake reality to control people. I'm talking in general. People lie to themselves and others to get what they want. They try not to make it obvious to think everything is fine. There are things in life that you're going to want, but can't get, and you're going to have to accept that. You always have to look at if this is going to make a better future for you. You're going to want to go in your way. You have to accept the way things are. You have to be real with everybody because we all need each other at the end of the day. We all need to treat each other the same way we treat ourselves. As I crafted the helmet and put it on, we started getting flashbacks to when we were on the island 5 years ago. We see newspapers with people going missing when they go to King's Cove Resort. We were most likely a detective who was investigating what was going on this island. The TV would change and an emergency has occurred. A bomb goes off, causing us to take an emergency exit and go underground. We go into the sewers area, and when we exit, we end up in the habitable burger barn simulation stage. We then get taken by a guard. We start getting flashbacks to when we get put into the simulation. This was probably a plan to lure everybody on the island here, so they could do experiments on these people. In the flashbacks, we see that our name is Wire Hyper, that we were a detective. They captured him and put him into this simulation. They mentioned that their 3 employees were test subjects. This shows us that when we do bad things to a certain group of people, we can do bad stuff to everyone around us. We can't have multiple mindsets with different people. You have to treat everyone the same, and it's much easier to match one mindset with everyone. It will help you a lot, and you will become a better person. But he comes back with anyone not feeling good, and he ends up powering off. A sad moment. We cap the keypad hacker and he go into the restaurant. There we see writing on the wall from E7 and he tells us how to escape. He tells us to escape and tell the world the truth. We open the door and we end up in the sewers with Happy. After escaping from here, we end up at a Happy Burger Diner. This is where E7 used to work, and it's in the much all the time, and it's in black and white, and it has all cars and places. We go into the diner and start serving customers, and after serving my customers, stuff happens. This stuff doesn't have many metaphors, and it's just a simulation changing. We end up at a farmer's place, and after defeating him and asking the phone, we escape the simulation. When we come out, we see many people gone. When we go to this door, we couldn't hear someone attacking them. The door opens and we escape to an island. The Happy is loose on the island. This is the end of the game. Now, I'm going to explain what happened at the end, and one metaphor that could explain why these mascots are alive. In the end, we escaped the simulation, and Happy escaped the simulation too. I'm guessing we defeat everyone except for Happy. Happy managed to get everyone on the island, and in the end we escape. But Happy is now loose on the island. The one main question this game has is why are these nightmarish mascots alive? Now, there are many explanations why, but it has to do with experiments. As you know, Paragon experiment on people a lot, but you know from taste that these nightmarish mascots are possessed. Who are they possessed by? I originally thought that they were possessed by animals, because the company could experimented with animals and they treat them well. This could be the case, but after watching Super Hollywood's video, he claimed that there was a war going on, and when they activated the bomb, to apparently destroy their enemies, they awakened something below. They awakened the assets and it soon couldn't contain all of them, causing a disaster. You can find his video in the description below. He explains a lot more of the story of this game. He also mentioned that these mascots could be possessed by these people who have been experimented on, most likely killed. At this point, we don't have a clear explanation of who possesses these nightmarish mascots. If it's the result of the company doing experiments on animals, the metaphor here is we should try our best to treat animals kindly, not use them for dangerous experiments. When you have to slaughter an animal for food, you should do it in a way where the animal grows painlessly and quickly. We shouldn't let the animals suffer. We have to treat animals with proper manners because they are living beings just like us. The reason why the mascots are possessed by the result of human experiments, then as I explained before, we shouldn't try to control humanity. Since I explained this metaphor earlier in the video, I'll leave this game here, but I still have Happy Tomo Burger Bar to explore. Alright, so in Happy Tomo Burger Barn, there are 2 metaphors that was in Happy Tomo Burger Farm. Metaphors that are in this game are towards the ending of the game. After seeing many strange things, you get stuck underground and you go into an elevator. The elevator contains the people talking about the 4 different jobs the simulation have. It is the wage slave, which is where Happy Tomo Burger Barn takes place, the graveyard shift, which we see in Happy Tomo Burger Farm, the lifesaver, which is in a hospital, and the thrill seeker, which is a theme park. They are putting people inside a simulation to make them socially work in different environments. This goes deeper into the hidden meaning of this story. I will explain the metaphor with subservient workers, but this goes into like 4 different areas, 4 different sort of environments, and this basically just goes deeper to show that in real life we sometimes can get played, and to be an obedient worker, it could be like this is more of like a job for us, like the people who live paycheck to paycheck, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with working 9 to 5, nothing wrong with working at a job, but sometimes it may feel like you playing the strings and you being controlled and not having any freedom in your job. You just follow orders and be obedient workers. Yeah, sometimes you gotta not only look at the money, not only looking at, oh, I have to live paycheck to paycheck. No, you have to look at, you know, if this job is fun, if you enjoy this job, if you get into a career that you actually enjoy the career, you will get most likely more money because you enjoy it. And when you enjoy something, you work harder for it, and when the company sees you work harder for it, you will of course get a raise and stuff like that. Don't work at a job that you hate. Try to work at a job you love. Try to work at a job you are passionate about. Try to work in a career that you're passionate about, that you're happy about. Like when you're done creating that work, you actually feel glad, you actually feel happy done with that work, and you're happy with what you have created. Not only like for the money and living paycheck to paycheck and being obedient, it's to have fun and have a good time and do good stuff and create stuff that you are passionate about and that you're happy about. Our first metaphor, the last metaphor is at the end of this game. When we get out of the elevator and enter the door, all the way at the end of this hallway, we need a disturbing sight. The scientist was killed on his chair. We play the tape, we see that this was his final message. He explains that they were starting to this company for a good reason, but Grimm has lost his mind. Grimm is the leader of this company, if you forgot. I explained this earlier in the video. He also talks about the experiments they were doing with innocent people. He talks about psychological slavery and he regrets what he had done. Now he can't live with himself and ended up finishing it all for himself. This is a really important metaphor because when you do bad things in the past, you can still fix them. It's never too late to redeem yourself. This scientist could have tried to escape and help the test subjects escape, but he couldn't live with the regret. This is never the solution. You're going to have regrets and maybe you do bad things. But when you realize that what you have done, you have to change yourself because part of life is growing into a better person. Starting to change yourself and redeem yourself will solve a lot of things that you have done. That was all the metaphors, psychology, Happy Humble Burger, Farm and Barn. The story of these two games was very interesting. It had a lot of metaphors. I also think it had a lot of metaphors. It had a lot of metaphors that I didn't expect, and it had important metaphors, basically with controlling people, similar to Inside actually. We have 2 more metaphor videos left. I got to explore the metaphors and psychology behind a 1 o'clock bikini bottom and Call of Duty Black Ops Cold campaign, and then I'm finally done. Then I can move on to playthroughs, but I still will continue these series because I love it a lot, and most of you seem like you love it as well. And the views have been picking back, so I can't thank you enough for that. If you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. I can't wait for 500 subscribers at the end of this year. Hopefully you can hit, and also if I support this channel, there's links in the description down below, social media. There's 2 playlists, my reaction and playthrough to Happy Summer Burger Font and Happy Summer Burger Barn. It also is full of metaphor videos where I explore on metaphor psychology inside different games. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next video. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.